Hello, today I'll be answering the question, could 9/11 have been avoided? To answer this question, we first must analyze the history and motives of the 9/11 attacks. Let us first look at 9/11 itself. What happened and how did it happen? 9/11, also referred to as the September 11th attacks, happened on September 11th, 2001. There were 4 separate attacks, all of which involved passenger airplanes. 2 airplanes were hijacked by terrorist group Al-Qaeda and crashed into the North and South World Trade Center towers. Another plane crashed into the Pentagon, and another ended up crashing near Shanksville, Pennsylvania, after passengers attempted to wrestle control from the airplane. Victim deaths totaled at 2,977, while Al-Qaeda deaths totaled at 19. The extensive damage that the terrorist attacks left behind caused everyone to ask the question, why? The motives behind the attacks pointed to the United States' presence in the Middle East, sanctions the United States put on Iraq, the United States' support of Israel, the United States supporting other countries and other groups over Muslims in world affairs, and pro-American governments in the Middle East. In 1996, Bin Laden issued a fatwa calling for American troops to leave Saudi Arabia. In 1998, Al-Qaeda wrote, "For 7 years, the United States has been occupying the lands of Islam in the holiest of places, the Arabian Peninsula, plundering its riches, dictating to its rulers, humiliating its people, terrorizing its neighbors, and turning its bases in the peninsula into a spearhead through which to fight the neighboring Muslim peoples." Bin Laden wanted the United States to leave the Middle East, so the Muslims would have their own government free of the United States. Bin Laden wanted one unified Muslim nation, called the Pan-Islamic idea. And maybe if the United States and other Western countries had left the Middle East, there would have been less motivation or reason to attack the United States or other Western countries. All these motives and ideas really only relate to one thing, and that's Islamic extremism. And this extremism is rooted in hatred for the West, for occupying its territories, and as Osama Bin Laden states, humiliating the Middle East. Osama bin Laden believed in one unified Islamic state. In order to accomplish this, he needed the United States and other Western powers to leave the Middle East. Not only that, he also believed in destroying America entirely. America is the symbol of Western society. Al-Qaeda believed in these radical Islamist ideas, and it gave them motivation to perform attacks on Western powers, even before 9/11. The previous slide focused on the motives behind 9/11, but there are other key reasons as to why 9/11 happened. An example is the Sykes-Picot Treaty, a secret negotiation that carved up the Ottoman Empire and created new Arab states. The purpose of this treaty was to keep Arab states under British and French control and influence. Shortly after 9/11, Bin Laden said, "The Islamic world has been tasting this humiliation and degradation for 80 years. For Bin Laden, he felt the same way Hitler did with the Treaty of Versailles, seeking vengeance against the Western world and reverse the treaty. Bin Laden wanted the United States to leave the Middle East and let the Middle East work itself out without foreign intervention. Another key part to our story is when the Soviet Union invaded the Afghans. The Afghans were successful in fending them off, which is surprising considering the firepower that the Soviet Union had. The Afghans were successful using guerrilla tactics and had help from the United States, who provided them weapons. The result was experienced Arab fighters who would later form groups such as the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. Taliban rose to prominence and power in the Middle East after the fall of Saddam Hussein. The Taliban established a harsh regime and provided support and protection for Osama bin Laden, who returned with other extremists and founded Al-Qaeda. Another factor to extremism in the Middle East was the Persian Gulf War of 1991. It contributed to the growth of extremist groups that zealously followed radical anti-Western interpretations of the religion Islam. Violent terrorist groups from both radical Sunni and Shia Muslim ethnic groups used the presence of foreign troops in the Middle East as fuel to fire up their propaganda apparatus and recruitment campaigns. By far the most important and well-known Al-Qaeda member is Osama Bin Laden. He founded the group, he was the leader of the group, and he obviously had a major role in planning of 9/11. Bin Laden was eventually killed on May 1st, 2011, after over a decade of terrorism by United States Navy SEALs. Bin Laden believed in one unified Islamic State without the influence of Western powers, known as the Pan-Islamist idea. Bin Laden also had extremely radical beliefs when it came to America. In fact, he believed that America should be destroyed. And this is probably because America was a symbol of Western society. Everything that he thought, he promoted in Al-Qaeda, and Al-Qaeda became those beliefs as well. Everything that Al-Qaeda believed, Osama believed. And this led to the hostilities against the United States and other Western powers. Another key to knowing if 9/11 could have been avoided is knowing how the United States dismissed Al-Qaeda threats. The United States dismissed several red flags months before 9/11. These red flags included an alert from Jordan that said Al-Qaeda was planning an attack on the United States that involved planes, an FBI memo to the president stating that suspicious activity consistent with preparation for hijackings was happening. Minnesota Flight School alerted FBI to an Arabian man asking suspicious questions. FBI determined the man was a radical. Request to search his laptop was denied by FBI headquarters due to lack of probable cause. These are only a few red flags given months before the 9/11 attacks, and the U.S. government did not think that Al-Qaeda was a big enough threat to really do any damage. A major issue with the U.S.'s dismissiveness of Al-Qaeda was that there was not a lot of sharing of information between government groups or organizations, such as the FBI, CIA, and NSA. The conclusive answer to the question is yes, 9/11 could have been prevented. The historical evidence shows that 9/11 happened due to radical Islamic extremists who rose up to promise the Middle East after the fall of Saddam Hussein. Terrorist group Al-Qaeda, led by Osama Bin Laden, that was anti-American and wanted the destruction of the United States. Their hate stemmed from Western countries influencing and controlling the Middle East, most notably the United States, which was preventing Bin Laden's idea of one united Arab state. If the United States had left or never been involved with the Middle East, things may have changed. The United States had warnings from their intelligence agencies and criminal investigating agencies, but their failure to communicate with each other led to nothing being done about the threats and suspicious activities before 9/11. The United States also had warnings from other countries like Jordan. Ultimately, 9/11 happened, and it happened for a reason. Thank you for listening.